Oh my God.
Here goes.
Blazing across the airwaves right now.
Get ready.
Now this is Freddie McGregor, and you're tuned into the baddest rhythm of all time.
Grant's Rock Warehaus is trying to change the world, one track at a time.
Are we on the air?
Yes, you are.
More music, more of the time.
Grant's Rock Warehaus.
Don't understand what's going on here.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to another episode of Crime of the Century, the classic rock and true crime show. Ladies and gentlemen, Angie Moon is here, and she is bringing it tonight. The Kinks and John Wayne Gacy. We want to hear from you in the chat. We are live. Let's do it.
Piling on the power chords and pure pandemonium. Grant's Rock Warehouse.
All right, everybody, we are live. And of course, this is episode 2 of Crime of the Century. I want to welcome my co-host, Angie Moon, of course.
Always a pleasure to be here. And this is going to be a very special one because I'm a huge fan of the Kinks. This was the first chapter that I wrote for this book. And oh my God, this was an absolute pleasure to write. These two Kinks true crime connections. So it's John Wayne Gacy and the Cray twins. So on both sides of the Atlantic, there are true crime connections. Yeah, that just inspired me to write the book because I knew about, the Beach Boys, and I knew about Phil Spector and Joe Meek and Ian, all these other stories anyway.
Right, there's tons
of them. So I'm already here. I got my Kinks cosplay on, so I'm dressed up as the third Davis brother, Slay Davis. Let's go. So we're going to introduce the show with the very first track. Today, we're going to be playing Revenge by the Kinks, and you might recognize this if you're a Led Zeppelin fan. There will be a Led Zeppelin story later on in this podcast, just a few more episodes to go for that one. And this might sound familiar if you've heard Jimmy Page's She Just Satisfies. This is the instrumental. Jimmy Page was here for those sessions, but he did not play that guitar solo on You Really Got Me. That was 17-year-old Dave Davis. So without further ado, this is Revenge by the Kinks.
All right, here we go, kids. So brace yourselves. The show's about turning you on to stuff and having a good discussion. So please keep it interactive. We're just trying to keep it real in the feel here in the warehouse. So there you go. Revenge. This is off the Reprise album, 1965, King Size. Now, I do believe it might have been like a B-side in the UK, but whatever. We're going U.S. albums for the most part. Though the track listing that Angie sent me to put together, oh my God, it was a lot of work because you picked a lot of like obscure B-sides and stuff. Some of that stuff I don't think ever got released here. But anyway, damn it,
it's a real special treat for you guys.
It was, yeah, it was a special treat for me to put together. All right, cool. Here we go. Revenge, kids. There you go. This show, Angie, for crying out loud.
What an instrumental. And this is a great song. I just love it. It's just it's a great intro to a rock show. Anyway, this is my book, Crime of the Century. For those who haven't read it, please do get a copy if you can. It is absolutely amazing. So this, the Kinks actually inspired the cover of this book. So It has a tarot card motif. That is a reference to Joe Meek, but let's focus on the Kinks portion of the aesthetic of this. So the Flying V, this was popularized by Dave Davis, and he got this guitar on that US tour that we will be talking about. That's where the true crime connection with John Wayne Gacy happened. So Dave Davis traveled to the United States with a guitar that belonged to George Harrison. It was a Guild guitar. Now, somewhere along the way, when they were flying across the country, George Harrison's guitar got lost. And Dave Davis was like, sans guitar, he needed a new guitar. So they were in Hollywood. There's plenty of guitar stores there. And Dave goes to a guitar store. The producer just shows him that. And then he goes through all the cases. He didn't find anything impressive until he saw this triangular shaped case. And that contained the Flying V. And it was then an unsuccessful guitar patented by Gibson in the late 1950s. I guess people weren't ready for it yet, as Marty McFly said in Back to the Future.
Yep.
The salesman at the guitar store was like, "Why do you want that old thing for?" And Dave was like, "I insist, let me have it." And he just handed him the cash. He took the guitar, played it on Shindig, and made the Flying V famous. So Dave Davis, not only clothing-wise, was like a total hype beast with his dandy style, doing it before everyone else, growing out his hair longer than everyone else at the time, pretty much, except for like Phil May, the Pretty Things. I think they were about the same. Maybe PJ Proby as well, grew out his hair about the same. But yeah, he was also a hype beast in guitars. So Dave Davis was one of the popularizers. And yeah, February 3rd, that was his birthday. And that was the day the music died. So on his 12th birthday, that is when Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens all died in the plane crash. So let's talk a little bit about the beginnings of the Kinks. So the Kinks are a sibling group, and they're one of quite a few sibling groups that I talk about in this book. So they were started by brothers Ray and Dave Davis from Muswell Hill in North London. So I actually have been there before. If you go to the Clissold Arms, their childhood home is right across the street from that pub. And that is where they played like one of their first shows. And they were made up of friends. So they had Pete Quaife, who was a classmate of Ray Davis. Both Ray Davis and Pete Quaife went to art school. And then they went through a cycle of drummers, just like a lot of other groups. So the Beatles did that, the Who did that, and of course the Kinks did that. And they found Mick Avery, who was half Italian, half English, by the way, which is a really interesting fact that I don't see a lot of people sharing. And his father actually helped to design the Kinks logo. Like he designed the original Kinks logo on their drum, which is really, really cool. So his father was like a graphic designer or something like that. Really cool stuff. Anyway, so the Kinks started off like very R&B influenced. So I go on in the book about how, they'll talk about how they're not like everybody else, but in some ways they were a lot like everybody else because they had the same influence as everyone else. And it was kind of a slow burn to get the success. So their first few singles actually went nowhere. The first one was like Long Tall Sally, was a cover of Little Richard. And then the next one was You Still Want Me. And I think that is the next song on our set list. Yep. And that was a Beatlesque song, actually one of two of them. And we're going to be playing another Beatlesque song called I Believed You. And everyone was just trying to copy the Beatles. Before everyone copied the Beatles, everyone was copying Elvis, but this was like the height of Beatlemania. 1964 was the year of the Beatles, and other British invasion groups soon followed. And the Kinks did not take long to get success. So they seemed like overnight successes because it was really quite quick for them. Like third single, You Really Got Me, that reached number 1. And the Kinks, like, there you go. They had all that success. There you go. Dave Davis had a number 1 by the age of 17. I think 2 number 1s by the age of 17. Least. Like, it's incredible, like what they achieved at such a young age. And they toured overseas like very quickly. So they went to Australia before going to the United States. And they actually had to get permission from Ray and Dave's parents, to get Dave to go and get a visa to tour overseas, because they were doing Australia, they were doing the US, they were going to Asia as well. So yeah, that's how things were back then. And it's just incredible, like how young these guys were. I think that's something I can't get over in classic rock. It was a different world then, Angie. So,
probably the parents probably had assigned, I have no idea, but they might have assigned something. Was just
not as like commonplace then. I mean, even in the mid 60s, it wasn't uncommon for people to drop out of secondary school at 15, 16 years old and just go straight into the workforce.
Right.
So is it really all that different from the Victorian era? I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Shall we play You Still Want Me?
Midway point between now and the Victorian era. So
All right.
Yeah.
Shall we play it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go. Kinks, you still want me. We're just trying to keep it real, so to speak. So here we go.
When you passed me by, you didn't look my way. But one thing I know, our love is here to stay. And you still want me, and you still want me. You wanted the sky, but I couldn't reach so high. I gave you my love, but you found some other guy. And you still want me, and you still want me. I know, because the smile that's on your lips is for me. They were meant for me to kiss, and you were meant to love me, darling. I'll be around when other guys have gone. I'll tell you once more, I still love you so. And you still want me, and you still want me. I know, because the smile that's on your lips is for me. They were meant for me to kiss, and you were meant to love me, darling. I'll be around when other guys have gone. I'll tell you once more, I still love you so. And you still want me, and you still want me, and you still want me.
You know what I find absolutely fascinating about this whole period of the Kinks is that in 64, they really didn't sound like when in your brain you think of the Kinks have a certain sound. Right now, I don't think they had found their sound yet. They sound pretty much like all the other British invasion bands, just doing,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they needed that fuzz guitar. That was the secret sauce. That's really what made the Kinks in the early days. And you really got me all day and all of the night. I need you till the end of the day. All those power pop songs, the songs that shaped power pop. They weren't the first to do the fuzz guitar. I mean, the Ventures preceded them with the 2,000 Pound Bee. You had Link Wray with Rumble. There were a few other songs in like the early 60s as well. But yeah, I mean, the Kinks were definitely part of that pioneering sound of punk rock, heavy metal, all sorts of things. I mean, they really deserve so much more credit. And I know it's a cliche at this point, but seriously, if you guys haven't really listened to much of the Kinks, you really should. I mean, I say they're a lot like Thin Lizzy in the way that if you're only listening to the hits, you're truly missing out. I think there's just so many great songs that are not hits that really deserved it. And I think the reason they didn't become as big is because they were the only band ever to get a ban from the Musicians Union from touring the United States. And you needed permission from the unions back then because everything was all about the unions back then. The unions were very strong in the mid 20th century. And it was to, keep musicians working because they didn't want foreign musicians undercutting American musicians. And the British invasion was a real threat to American musicians. And the Kinks actually experienced that a lot of jealousy and bitterness from the American musicians. Like Mike Love acted very aloof. I mean, he's famously like one of the villains in the Beach Boys story, along with Murray Wilson and Landy and Charles Manson, a lot of other crazy things. But yeah.
Well, that whole Beach Boys thing, you always wonder if Mike Love, a lot of these stories, they always need a villain. Is it really Mike Love? Because, he's an interesting character, I'm just going to say. But he didn't want the Beach Boys to progress outside of what, they had established themselves in. And, Brian was going at such a level and was on a creative peak. Mike couldn't handle it, but thank God Brian did what he did. We wouldn't have Pet Sounds, we wouldn't have the Smile stuff or anything like that. But I always wonder if Mike, just because people really need that bad guy, if he was made out more as a villain than he probably should have, but maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying. It makes a better story, though. I'll give you that.
I think one of the coolest things about the Kinks is that Ray Davies, like as a composer and as a songwriter, one of the coolest things about him is that you can like rearrange his songs into other genres and it still sounds natural and it still sounds good. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched this BBC documentary of Ray Davies. I think it's called Imaginary Man.
I've seen some of it.
Yeah. Really got me on the piano and it just sounds really good. And that's how he originally composed it. And Dave Davies got that fuzz guitar sound through an experiment in his living room because he got frustrated because he didn't think that he had the right guitar sound. So he just, teenage angst, he took a razor blade to his Alpico amp, the little green Alpico amp, and started going at it in frustration. He daisy chained all these amps together and went, whoa, I think we got this fuzz guitar sound. And that's what made You Really Want Me. Before we go to You Really Got Me. Sorry, I don't know why I said You Really Want Me. You Really Got Me.
I don't know, whatever. You're Angie, you're all worked up. You're ready for this show. So you just go.
So before You Really Got Me, we're going to be playing I Believed You.
Yes.
And that's another Beatlesque song. So enjoy it.
All right, here we go. I Believed You. Now this was, I'm not, some of the stuff that Angie picked, I'm a little bit new to, but I was able to compile it. What I think is this was an early demo. This came out in 1963. This came out on the debut album, Deluxe Edition, in 1999. I think it might have came out on Sanctuary before that. Now, if anybody's keeping track of the Kinks catalog, it's very complicated. They've had so many reissues, so many remasters. Take your pick. But I can guarantee you that it came out on this 1999 Universal Deluxe Edition. So let's hear it, because you listen to the Kinks in 1963, and it's really it's a different animal. So, all right, here we go.
So yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Ray Davies was 19, Dave Davies was 16.
Just kids. But it's incredible. All right, here we go.
I believed you, now it's up to me. I believed you, now it's up to me. I believe what you said, the 11 days were through, but you were fooling around. I found somebody who will never take your place, will never give me your embrace. But now that you've shown your face, you've broken her heart too. I believed you, now it's up to me. I believed you, now it's up to me. Now what am I to do? Now that you want me so,
I can't argue with that.
I just can't be forever, or else I'll be alone. Well, I just can't leave her now. It wouldn't be fair somehow. She loved me when my luck was down. Now you've broken her heart too. I believed you, now it's up to me. I believed you, now it's up to me. Now what am I to do? Now that you want me so, I just can't leave her, or else I'll be alone. Well, I just can't leave her now. It wouldn't be fair somehow. She loved me when my luck was down. Now you've broken her heart too. I believed you, now it's up to me. I believed you, now it's up to me.
How it just sounds so run of the mill. I'm not saying this is bad or good, Angie. I'm just saying that the sound of the Kinks has not materialized yet. It just sounds Dave Clark 5,
Like I think that's what really makes the Who special, is that they sounded great out the gate.
Yeah.
The Kinks, I think, needed some time to cook. And cook they did on this next one. You Really Got Me.
All right, we go. We're just going to go for it, kids. Now, you all know this song, but you know what? This is one of those songs, we'll say this. you never get tired of. Ladies and gentlemen,
no.
this is where
like
the
I
Kinks...
actually used this in a music video that I made. It was kind of like in a Kenneth Anger style, where I strung a bunch of like classic rock songs together that I really like. So I put the Beatles' A Day in the Life, 515 from Quadrophenia, and then I put You Really Got Me, and that's the song that I introduced on the radio. So it was just showing a day in the life of me as a radio DJ back in university. I'll have to post it somewhere on Instagram because it's such an adorable little clip of me at 19 years old, and I sound completely different.
Just
I sound
a baby.
American. Like I still sound American, but not nearly as American as I used to.
Yeah. All right. You really got me, kids. Embrace it. You know it. Here we go.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. Don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. Don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
What a banger.
That is where the Kinks arrived.
Here they go. Here they are.
Here they are. This is the blueprint of what was to come. And I don't know, it might have just happened in the studio that way. I mean, I don't, it's.
I just love the angst and just the spontaneity of that guitar solo. He just put so much, emotion into it. Like AI could never. AI could never.
No. AI couldn't do that. Kelly says it shows what a great song this is. Anyone can probably do it, and it's still just a good song. Yeah, you could do cover versions of this.
Beauty and simplicity.
Yeah.
I think there's so much beauty and simplicity. And I saw somebody comment about how Ray Davies inspired Pete Townsend. And you know what Be My Baby was for Brian Wilson? That was You Really Got Me for Pete Townsend. I love making these sorts of comparisons, and I think this is just the song that really inspired I Can't Explain, which is an absolute favorite Who song of mine.
Well, if you've ever seen like interviews with Pete Townsend, I can't tell you what era, but he always held Ray in high regard as far as a songwriter. You know?
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites of all time. He's probably my favorite of all time, to be honest. Like I really just love his songwriting because it wasn't just love songs like the Beatles. I mean, he was writing about some very deep songs and with a lot of sensitivity. It wasn't just boy loves girl. You know, there were LGBT issues. There were songs about social issues like Dead End Street. You had Lola. You had Party Line. And some people even think this next song might have had an LGBT theme because it talks about a woman who's quite strong. So some people think that it is about a trans woman. And this song is called I Took My Baby Home. And it's an absolutely catchy one. It's very R&B influenced. I love the harmonica on this one. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, this song is kind of an odd one because this came out on Cameo in '64. as far as what I'm looking at least in the States. And I thought, wow. So this was a B-side. I can't remember what the A-side is, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, Cameo. So they must not have had a deal with Reprise yet when this came out. Anyway, check it out, because I bet a lot of people haven't heard this, and it's well worth hearing. So here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to play I Took My Baby Home. Let me know what you think.
Well, I took my baby home. She said, don't you leave me alone. She kissed me on the cheek and I'm on. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, she said, baby, I know what's best. She said, I could do with the rest. And she put her head on my chest. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. She had some hard driving kids, said she really knocked me out. They knocked me over. She had a hug like a vice. She squeezes once or twice and I know. So when I took my baby home, she said, don't you leave me alone. She kissed me on the cheek and I'm on. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. She had some pile driving kids, says they really knocked me out, they knocked me over. She had a hug like a vice. She squeezes once or twice and I know. So when I took my baby home, she said, don't you leave me alone. She kissed me on the cheek and I'm on. I said, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa,
Fantastic. Yes, I thought this was the A-side. So backstage, you were 100% right. But yeah, just the fact, this is something that I did not know, Angie. I did not know they had any 45s release on Cameo. I had no idea until
I had no idea until now. Like, I just knew it from the album, like the self-titled debut from 1964. And to me, it reminds me a lot of the song Poison Ivy from like the late 50s. So yeah, pretty cool to hear that R&B influence in there. And
Right.
they would just take that even further and, layer that sound with a lot of more influences and include more of their own British identity in there. And I think that's what really makes the Kinks special. And they're really the band for Anglophiles, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
But we haven't talked about our true crime connection just yet, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
So let's talk about John Wayne Gacy. So what made this chapter kind of special for me to write, it's a very grim, dark chapter because of John Wayne Gacy's crimes, and we won't be focusing on that. We're just going to talk a little bit about him as a person. So he's from my home state of Illinois. He was born in Chicago on St. Patrick's Day, 1942, in the middle of World War II. His father was a machinist and his mother was a housewife. And as a kid, he was pretty well behaved, worked casual jobs delivering newspapers, hardworking kid. He had some health problems due to his weight, but he just kept going on with life, and he dropped out of secondary school, moved to Las Vegas, worked as a janitor at a mortuary only to save money to come home. He felt kind of homesick. So he went to business college, he got a job as a salesman, and he was a pretty chatty guy. So this was a really good fit for him. And he was so successful as a salesman that he got promoted and moved from Chicago to Springfield, the capital of Illinois. And he got married. He had a seemingly happy life. And he rose up the ranks in the JCs, which is the Junior Chamber of Commerce. And that was an organization that was pretty big in the 60s. And he became the VP of that Chamber of Commerce in 1965. And he just loved attention. He was pretty extroverted. And then he moved to Iowa after the whole Kinks show and everything. So we're going to just give a little more background on him. And in Iowa, he managed a KFC and he started creeping on employees. He ended up in jail. And long story short, he, got lucky a bunch of times jail-wise where they, got him out of there. He somehow got treated well, considering the crimes that he committed. I don't know how. He must have been pretty charming. And
I think talked himself out of it. I don't know.
I think that the top takeaway for me from learning all about true crime, reading about it, watching, true crime documentaries every weekend, right around this time and, night, every Friday with my dad, it's that the most dangerous people are often the people you don't suspect. They're the most ordinary. They're the most charming. They're the most outgoing, the most friendly people. They seem so normal, and yet they have this dark side to them. And that's really what makes people dangerous. So I always say, just, watch yourselves, be safe, guys. It's just really important. Like, safety first. And don't be too trusting.
Well, wasn't Ted Bundy pretty normal other than when he was out doing his thing?
Oh yeah, and there's a Ted Bundy story in this book, but that's coming later. And that's with Debbie Harry in New York City. Anyway, so back in the 60s, prison sentences were quite lenient. I mean, in the Victorian era, it was quite draconian. Then it became quite lenient, in the mid 20th century with all the social change and the social democracy, the movement towards that. And because of technological limitations of the time, this is how John Wayne Gacy kind of got lucky, if you will, for himself, is that he, kind of committed some crimes in Illinois, but there was no communication between different states. There were no databases. There was no internet. Right. So everything was so decentralized, and, they didn't talk to each other. So he got released from parole early in Iowa and went back to living normally in Chicago and was free to just prey on young boys. And that's the very unfortunate part of the story. And like these crimes went on like a stone's throw from where I was living in Chicago. So I lived in a part of Evanston that was technically considered part of Skokie. So on the border of those two towns, and just a couple towns over in like Des Plaines, Norridge, that's where all the crimes were committed. So it's really scary to, think about all this stuff is going on in your backyard, even though this all went on before I was born, but it's really just chilling and scary to think about.
Yeah. 100%.
Anyway, we're going to be going back to some more of the Kinks, early 60s sound that they were known for, and that's that fuzz guitar sound. So we're going to be going and playing All Day and All the Night, I Need You Until the End of the Day. What a great fuzz guitar, garage rock, power pop trifecta right there. Gotta love the Kinks.
Yeah, I think you could probably, speaking of power pop, I think you probably could put this in that, genre, so to speak, even though I don't think it was existing. 65 is pretty early because I always think of like the Who in 66 and stuff, but you could
the Who's My Generation came out in 1965.
Yeah.
That's when that first album came out. So I think this was really just 1964, 1965. These were the beginnings of power pop.
Yeah.
So if you love bands like Big Star, Badfinger, The Knack, The Raspberries, this is for you guys.
All right, here we go, kids. All the day and night. You probably know this one, kids. Here we go.
I'm not content to be with you in the daytime. Girl, I want to be with you all of the time. The only time I feel alright is by your side. Girl, I want to be with you all of the time, all day and all of the night. All day and all of the night. All day and all of the night. I believe that you and me last forever. Oh yeah, all day and night I'm yours, leave me never. The only time I feel alright is by your side. Girl, I want to be with you all of the time, all day and all of the night. All day and all of the night. Oh, come on! I believe that you and me last forever. Oh yeah, all day and night I'm yours, leave me never. The only time I feel alright
to this track and you wonder, think about Hendrix is not even on the scene yet, but is there really anything as heavy as this at this time period? I mean, could you consider this early heavy metal? I would think that heavy metal, I mean, people always say that Black Sabbath was the one who invented it, but
this was Helter Skelter before Helter Skelter, and Jimi Hendrix complimented Dave Davis's guitar playing and said that was incredible. And I have to imagine that was a high for Dave Davis, because Jimi Hendrix, guitar god, complimenting your style. It's like Senpai noticing you. He was, 5 years older than Dave Davis and just complimenting him. You have to keep in mind, he was only 17 years old playing on these tracks. It just blows my mind. Absolutely.
Just a kid.
And what makes this song very special to me is the reason I wanted to be, commenting and talking about rock and roll and having a radio show is because of the movie Pirate Radio, or as it's known in the UK, The Boat That Rocked. This was the song that was played in the introduction of that film. And when this was the first Kinks song I ever heard, and I was like, this is amazing. This is like the best song ever. Holy shit, I love it. And I just felt kind of seen when I heard, the Kinks, because I later found out that half the band, the Davis brothers, are bisexual. And when I was 14 years old getting into this music, that's when I came out of the closet. So yeah, it was really just me finding myself. So that's how much the Kinks really mean to me. And when I went to Dave Davis's book signing in 2022, I told him that. And he gave me a thumbs up at the end of the book signing. It was just a real high for me. I cosplayed kind of as Dave Davis by wearing like a frilly shirt, and it was really hot out, so I had to wear a skirt, so I kind of femmed up the outfit. But yeah, it really just meant a lot to me, and I was chronically ill while that was going on. It was like at the height of my chronic illness, so
no.
It was really a happy day for me during a really sad point in my life. But yeah, I really love the Kinks. They're really a band that has changed my life, and I hope that me telling these stories changes the way you view the Kinks and you see them as incredibly special. And that's why I wrote, Crime of the Century. It's really, the Kinks were a huge inspiration behind this. The Beach Boys were an inspiration behind this. And yeah, I'm just really proud of this book. And yeah, Dave Davis, this is a tribute to him on the book cover. So yeah.
There you go. Check it out, kids. The links are down below.
My style. And I told him that, like, I love dressing up like a dandy. I mean, the dandy style was known as the Peacock Revolution. That became really popular in 66, 67, around the time of Dedicated Follower of Fashion. And the Kinks were dressing like dandies in 1964 in the Victorian, pink, they were really red, hunting jackets. They were just called pink because I think something related with blood or something like that. And the frilly shirts, like the shirts with little ruffles on them. And I remember just seeing that and I was like, I want to dress like that. And I think it wasn't really an inspiration for Austin Powers. It was not cited as the inspiration in canon, but I definitely think it should have had some sort of influence on the costuming of Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
A very formative movie for me because I watched that when I was 14 years old, and that's how I got obsessed with the 60s and got obsessed with the music of the 60s and the aesthetic and everything. And I just wanted to live it. So that's how much the 60s really means to me. And I just love writing about the 60s, love talking about music from the 60s. This is really my home. And if you tune in on every other Sunday, we have the Warehaus Acid Test, where I talk about lots of 60s bands. So this is always a pleasure to be on the show and just share the music with you guys. So
I like it when, Angie, I like it when you're on here because I don't have to do very much other than click buttons.
So yeah, next one is I Need You. And there's a lot of, bands that did a song like I Need You. Didn't the Beatles have an I Need You and the Who have an I Need You? And then
there's a lot.
I Need You. Everybody needs somebody.
Yeah, Kelly was saying that Ray was doing Americana music about 10, 12 years ago. Yes, he was. And I do believe, Kelly, that stuff got really good reviews at the time. I mean, a lot of people don't know about it. But
and here's a fun fact. Ash said, I never knew they were bi. So here's another fun fact for you guys. A lot of people think that Dave Davis was the only one who was bisexual. Ray Davis came out as bisexual decades before Dave Davis did. So he came out as early as the 60s, but it wasn't like as known because they didn't have the internet back then. So you had to get the, the magazine and the publication to know what these musicians were saying. But yeah, he said that if it weren't for his wife, he'd be gay. And then in an early 70s interview with all these Warhol superstars for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, they asked him, so do you like men? And he said, yes.
I I've never heard any. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's just really, fascinating. Like the British invasion is really full of a lot of bisexual people. I mean, like the big three, the Beatles, actually all four, like the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, and the Kinks, they all had bi members. I mean, John Lennon apparently liked men.
Well, that was a rumor.
Yeah,
Paul McCartney said that wasn't true. No, he did. He said that was just a rumor. As far as he knew that. Pete Townsend. Yeah.
And then the Rolling Stones had Mick Jagger and Brian Jones. So Brian Jones was one I learned about through David Davis's book. So Dave Davis had a crush on Brian Jones, and he wanted to have a threesome with Brian Jones and their girlfriend in Paris. They both were sharing a girlfriend in Paris.
Oh.
And they never told each other that they fancied each other. But Brian Jones said to the girlfriend, yeah, I want to be with Dave Davis. But no, Dave Davis and Brian Jones never slept together.
No idea.
Dave Davis did sleep with other men in the 60s. And this was going on while it was still illegal to be gay, mind you. So that's like one of the things that just like is completely scary, is like things could have ended up very different for the Kinks had Dave been outed and found out. But thankfully, he knew the right hotels to go to with his dates, and he stayed safe.
Well, I don't know, Kinky, if he wrote Pretenders tunes, but
Stop Your Sobbing. The Pretenders popularized that one.
Yeah, because Chrissy was a big. Well, don't forget Chrissy Hynde.
They were together. They had a kid together.
100% back in the day. She was always a big fan, and she got him, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mark says Brian Jones was pretty awful to girlfriends and groupies. Well, I don't know about that. Okay, here's the question and answer period. We're only halfway through this show. Does Angie wish she was alive to experience the music back then?
Absolutely. Like if I could, have one wish, it would be to be born 50 years earlier, like 1944, and, experience the music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s as it was coming out. Absolutely. I would give anything to be born back then.
Yeah, I was born 20 years too late, so I would have traded to go to like to Monterey and go to Woodstock and all that, the things like that. I would have.
Oh, yeah.
Altamont. Hell, I would have went to Altamont too. What the hell?
I probably would have wanted to be in Britain, though. I would rather be in the UK. I mean, London, absolutely. That's where I'd want to be.
Here, Pookie. There you are. Carnaby Street, yes.
Oh, Carnaby Street's, it's not the same anymore, but it was really cool just getting to see it.
Hey, Greg is going to let you have his DeLorean so you can time travel.
Oh,
that's really nice. Greg, that's really nice of you. Thank you.
I'd be saving so many rock stars from their fates. I'd be like, Buddy Holly, do not get in that plane. Whatever you do,
stop.
No. Eddie Cochran, don't get in that car. Mark Bolan, don't get in the car.
Victor Soy, don't get in that
car accident.
Pookie, you're 100% right. The footage for Monterey, you watch the Janis Joplin footage, you watch Big Brother and the Holding Company, and just the energy, that footage is fantastic. I keep thinking of that footage of where Janis is wearing that sparkly outfit and she's keeping time with her foot. And God, I mean, the whole film, Monterey, and what they captured, Hendrix's performance, The Who, Buffalo Springfield, where David Crosby fills in.
Screw Woodstock. I'd rather be at Monterey.
Monterey was a better
lineup.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Monterey blows 100%. Woodstock out of the water. Sorry, Woodstock fans.
Anyway, what do we hear next, Angie? I think we are listening to
I Need You and Till the End of the Day. Now, here's a fun one for the Till the End of the Day.
We'll probably just do those back to back. Go ahead.
That was my most played song on Spotify one year. I just really love Till the End of the Day. That one always cheers me up. So hope you enjoyed these two songs.
All right, we're going to crank these out back to back. I'm just trying to keep track of time, kids. All right, more Kinks. Let us know what you think, and we're just keeping it real here in the Warehouse. All right, there's that sound.
I need you more than birds in the sky. I need you, this true little girl, that you can lift your tears from my eyes. Look, if you ever tell me goodbye, I'll be down and you'll hear me cry. one else to stand in your place. I need you, you know, little girl, that you can keep a smile on my face. But if you ever tell me goodbye, I'll be down and you'll let me cry. I need you more than anybody else has needed anyone before. More than anybody else has needed anyone before. I need you, I need you, I need you. Baby, I feel good from the moment I rise. Feel good from morning to the end of the day. Till the end of the day. Yeah, you and me, we live this life. From when we get up till we go sleep tonight. You and me were free. We do as we please, yeah, from morning till the end of the day. Till the end of the day.
Angie's, I mean, all right.
Yeah, I get up and I see the sun up. I feel good, yeah, 'cause my life has begun.
Stop!
You and me were free. We do as we please, yeah, from morning till the end of the day. 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 You and me were free. We do as we please, yeah, from morning till the end of the day.
Yes, Mark's too soon.
Till the end of the day. Till the end of the day. Till the end of the day. Till the end of the day.
Holy mackerel, that song is great. Hey, I wanted to remind everybody we have about 50 people watching. If you can give us a thumbs up, and the links are down below to Angie's book. If you can give Angie some love, go ahead.
Yeah, I have plenty of copies here at my house, and yeah, once they're gone, they're gone. So I can personalize them. I sign them. I can write an essay in them if you like. I can have my cat sign them. Whatever you like, as long as it's a reasonable request, I'm happy to fulfill it,
There you go.
and I can ship them very quickly because I live right by the
Fantastic.
post office. So yeah, I'm happy to send these off. I've sent them across the globe. I've sent them to other continents, and yeah. Please get yourself a copy and join the fun, join the club of Crime of the Century, join the cult of Crime of the Century if you like.
There you go. Tia, a big fan of Angie's work, said it's a great book, a fun read. So there you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ash has been meaning to buy one. Ashley is in Australia.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've shipped a book to Australia. I don't think it takes too long to arrive there. I think probably a little over a week, I believe. Yeah, I think shipping is just so much faster now than it used to be back when I was a kid. It was quite slow, I remember.
Pookie, we're up to 50. Now we're at 52, Pookie. Come on, man.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in, for goodness sakes, because this is the second episode in this series. So it's going to take some, actually we're doing, for the second episode, Angie, I think we're doing pretty good.
So yeah, for those who want to buy the book, it's only available on my website. So these are paperbacks only, while supplies last, and it's on my website, crazyonclassicrock.com. It's linked below. And if you go on Facebook, if you search for The Diversity of Classic Rock by Angie Moon, you can find the information. I'm also on Instagram at Angie Michelle Moon. So that's my first name, middle name, and last name. So it's the Rolling Stones, Beatles, and Who, reference, not Kinks. So Keith Moon, Angie by the Rolling Stones, and Michelle by the Beatles. Very classic rock name. And yeah, you can get in contact with me and buy the book there. I would really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. This was a labor of love, and I have another Crime of the Century that I'm working on, but it's going to be a bit different from this one. So anyway, let's go on to our connection with the true crime. So we've talked about the Kinks, we've talked about Gacy. Now, how do they come together? So the Kinks went on their first US tour in 1965, and that was the notorious tour that went wrong from start to finish, but it could have gone a lot more wrong. So it was doomed from the start. So in Cardiff, Wales, Mick Avery threw a cymbal at Dave Davis's head when Dave Davis insulted his drumming by telling him that the drums would sound better if he played them with his you-know-what. Mick Avery had a temper and threw a cymbal stand right at Dave Davis's head, requiring him to get stitches, and they had to cancel or postpone some tour dates in the US. So that's pretty bad news if you're a band trying to get your name out there and go on your first US tour. It was not all that different from the Sex Pistols story of their US tour going completely wrong. But yeah, the Kinks did it first. The Kinks were the blueprint for a tour gone wrong. So they go to the East Coast, they go to Chicago, right? So they go to Chicago and they, drive down to Springfield, Illinois. And in Springfield, Illinois, that's where John Wayne Gacy was the VP of the JCs. And as VP of the JCs, he had to organize and promote a concert. And the Kinks were the headliners of that concert at the Springfield Armory. A lot of people say in pop history, it's John Wayne Gacy was a concert promoter. That is not true. He was still a salesman. He was just a JC, and that's just part of his duties. That's just all it is. There's a lot of misconceptions in history, and I'm here to correct them. Anyway, while in Illinois, they had this crazy driver that pulled out a gun, waved it around, talked about how he knew Elvis, and name dropped a bunch of things, made fun of their band name, saying, Kinks, what kind of name is that? And it was just absolutely an insane ride. But they get to Springfield, they play the concert, and John Wayne Gacy kind of just shows them around town. They have, encounters with John Wayne Gacy. And when I was writing the book, this interview with Dave Davis that just recently came out with Billy Corgan, that was not out yet. I'm not a clairvoyant. I didn't know that it really did happen, that the Kinks all did go over to John Wayne Gacy's house. Now, Dave Davis is not the first one from the Kinks to open up about that. Pete Quaife did back in 2000, before he died. He did an interview with the music magazine, and he said that they went over there and they partied at his house. And Pete Quaife kind of had a reputation like Keith Moon or Jay from the In-Betweeners, where he was an exaggerator and he loved to embellish stories and exaggerate everything. So people took his story with a grain of salt. Dave Davis is seen as a bit more of a reliable narrator than his brother Ray, who did not write a straightforward autobiography. Like, if you've ever read X-Ray, I personally prefer it to Dave's books in a way, because I think Ray I really like how political he gets in there, and there's some very quirky stuff and some very interesting. It's an interesting concept. I mean, Davis is very straightforward. Ray is just somebody who can't write as straightforward, and he's not like everybody else, if you will. And I think Ray sang that one better than Dave. No offense to Dave, but yeah. The Kinks did party with John Wayne Gacy, indeed, and Dave Davis said he was a nice man, but not because he was like, oh yeah, I'm fawning over him. It's because he's warning you that sometimes the most dangerous people are not, the people you'd suspect. They're the most ordinary. They're the most charming. They said can sometimes be the kindest people. And the Kinks were not the only famous people that John Wayne Gacy had encounters with. Apparently, a member of the Cramps had an encounter with John Wayne Gacy. I think there was like some pen pal sort of thing going on. I think he met like Rosalind Carter or something like that in the 70s or something.
Yeah,
something like that. I think
maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
oh my God. Lots of crazy stuff, because he was very involved in the community, and that was his cover for committing crimes. Because how can anyone believe that such a kind man and such a family man could do such a thing and hurt people? So yeah, just a warning that be on the lookout. Don't be too trusting. And
I do want to bring this up. Mark does have a good thing. The reason the recent Kinks reunion didn't happen was because the Dave and Mick beef, according to Ray.
Oh yeah, and Mick Mick and Ray are best friends. So yeah,
that's why
that makes it complicated.
Mick never got ousted from the band.
Oh yeah,
because
Ray.
Dave and Mick were buddies, even though they, Dave and Mick had issues. Well, look, clear back in 66, 65, they never liked each other. And so that's why, because they had a good, Mick and Dave had Mick and Ray had that bond. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, there's going to be like a little personalization box and you can put whatever you want in there, or you can send me an email. I have a contact me form on my website. So if you forget to do that, just contact me there. And yeah, I can personalize it, writing whatever you like. And yes, I sign every single book by default.
Oh my God, Mark, really? I have a friend who has a painting by that creep.
Yep. Yeah, he did paintings. And I think on Nickelodeon's Quiet on Set, I think one of the creepy guys actually did communicate with John Wayne Gacy. And no, Mick actually never drummed with the Rolling Stones, but he did almost join the band. He's actually like one of many like famous musicians of the 60s who almost joined the Stones. One of the most famous ones I can think of is Paul Jones of Manfred Mann. Mm-hmm. So that's another interesting one. But anyway, I think the whole thing with like the Kinks getting banned from the US and like the 1965 tour going all wrong when their management abandoned them, they got into fights with people. Ray Davies punched a guy for calling his wife a commie and being xenophobic towards the Kinks and being xenophobic towards his wife who was Lithuanian. Oh my God. So
there's so much drama within this band.
And then a promoter refused to pay them. So then they just played You Really Got Me for 45 minutes straight, which actually sounds pretty sick if you ask me. It sounds pretty awesome. Imagine tripping acid while listening to that.
Yeah, no shit.
That sounds like fun.
100%.
But anyway, it could have gone wrong because Dave Davis, keep in mind, was John Wayne Gacy's type. All the Kinks were really John Wayne Gacy's type, but I think Dave Davis was most his type because, he was a long-haired twink. He was a skinny young dude, and John Wayne Gacy went for twinks. John Wayne Gacy, keep in mind, was gay or bisexual. I'm not really sure. I say he's bi in the book because he married women, and he clearly was attracted to men. So I'm
Obviously,
not really sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was one of the most famous gay supervillains in history.
Villain, yeah. All
anyway,
right. Cool.
Next one we're going to be playing is See My Friends, which is an LGBT themed song. Ray Davies said it was about, the river, one side straight, one side gay. So this is See My Friends, and it's got that Indian kind of sound. And this was inspired by a stopover they did in India where they heard fishermen singing. So the 60s was a time of Indomania. So paisley, peacocks, that's the national bird of India, sitars, and Nehru collars. So yeah, here's See My Friends.
All right, here we want to hear from you. You probably have heard this. I haven't heard this in a long time, but what a fantastic track, man. In 65, 66.
Pardon the language. I call it the OG Homies Over Hose. If you've ever watched Boondocks, you'll know what I mean.
Homies Over Hose. All right, cool. Here we go. See My Friends, kids.
See my friends, see my friends, they across the river.
Of course she does.
See my friends, see my friends, they across the river. She is gone, she is gone, and now there's no one left except my friend. Way across the river, she just went. She just went.
Yes.
Way across the river.
Oh, here we go.
Now she's gone. Now she's gone. Wish that I'd gone with her. She is gone. She is gone, and now there's no one left except my friend.
Yeah.
Lay across the river. Except my friend playing across the river. See my friend, see my friend playing across the river. See my friend, see my friend playing across the river. Cause he gets up in the morning and he goes to work at 9, and he comes back home at 5:30, gets the same train every time. Cause his world is built on punctuality, it never fails. And he's all so good,
I didn't know
and
that.
he's all so fine, and he's all so healthy in his body and his mind. He's a well-respected man about town, doing the best things so conservatively. And his mother goes to meetings while his father pulls a maid, and she stirs the tea with counsellors while discussing foreign trade. And she passes looks as well as bills at every suave young man. Cause he's all so good, and he's all so fine, and he's all so healthy in his body and his mind. He's a well-respected man about town, doing the best things so conservatively. And he likes his own backyard, and he likes his fags the best, cause he's better than the rest, and his own sweat smells the best. And he hopes to grab his father's hoop when Peyton passes on. Cause he's all so good, and he's all so fine, and he's all so healthy in his body and his mind. He's a well-respected man about town, doing the best things so conservatively. And he plays a song to Charles, and he goes to the regatta. He adores the girl next door, cause he's dying to get at her. But his mother knows the best about the matrimonial snakes. Cause he's all so good, and he's all so fine, and he's all so healthy in his body and his mind. He's a well-respected man about town, doing the best things so conservatively.
Well, you know, Jeremy, this that I would consider Blur maybe the 90s equivalent of the Kinks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're not doing anything much different than what the Kinks were doing back in the 60s. It's just a 90s version. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Work life,
100%.
definitely.
All classics. But, you know, Blur never really did that much here, though. Not in the States. They were gigantic in UK.
For everybody saying Oasis, like, copy the Kinks, I always joked that they were like the Beatles, but with Kinks characteristics. That's sibling dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this song title always, it's just, I get a kick out of it because it does make me laugh. And I'll give you kind of a little preview of what's to come next in the book world for me. So I'm currently working on a book about celebrity trials. And there's a little joke that I make regarding this song. So the first chapter is about the very first celebrity trial, and that's Oscar Wilde. Now, he had a play called A Woman of No Importance. And I made this joke. A woman of no importance implies the existence of a well-respected man. So if you know these kinds of esoteric kind of Twitter jokes, it's like opposites implies the existence of.
Mm-hmm.
Very weird, awkward sense of humor I have, but yeah.
It's all right.
I make the joke in the book.
X of Music, have you seen that? I think, what was it? What was the gentleman that does like the production show? Oh, what is his name? He's got dark hair. He had Graham on the show talking about the Blur stuff, and they were talking guitars and stuff. That guy, as far as a musician, fantastic. And he did solo albums, but check that out. You could probably look at it. Graham Cox, an interview back in the day. It was like a couple years ago. Kelly, where are you going?
Cheers.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping in. Hard to notice Coxon when there's Nick McCabe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, DC Toon Time's here. He must have got back from a game or he woke up from his nap.
This is my cat Bowie.
Hello all. Angie's cat is much more camera friendly than the late Dementia Cat. May the Dementia Cat rest in peace.
This is my Bowie. He's so cute.
I need to see it. Yes, thanks. All right. Let's see, where are we at? Well-Respected Man.
And now She's Got Everything. This is a power pop classic, and it was covered by the Romantics. Really love their version, but the Kinks, I think they did it best. So let's play She's Got Everything. This is one of my favorites of theirs.
God, I hope this is right. I look like I have more. I think I've programmed more tracks in here than I should have. All right, here we go. Uh-oh.
That's Be My Friends.
Wait a minute, She's Got Everything. Where is it?
It's dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
dun, dun.
There it is. Buttons are hard, kids. Buttons are hard.
I got a girl who's oh so good. She got everything. I got a girl and she is mine. She got everything. Pretty ring is in her hair. Pretty clothes that she can wear. What she got? Everything. All other guys just stand and stare. She got everything. I ain't got a dime, she don't care. I got everything. I love you, money, got that car. Everything that I could want, what I got. Everything. I got a girl who's oh so good. She got everything. She got
It's true.
And I can't live without
Oh my God, it is My Woman from Tokyo.
without her.
I was listening to a Clash song, and it was inspired by one of those things that
She got
Oh my God, it's sustained chord progression.
I got a girl who's oh so good. She got
I don't know, Mike, I think that would have happened anyway.
I've got a girl who's oh so fine. She got everything.
a little late 60s for you guys.
Yeah, DC, when we were in Pittsburgh, I was looking for that. That was one of the things I was going to pick up, but they did not have any of those. And from what I understand is that Rhino didn't print that many of this Runt record store day release. Where did you pick DC, where did you pick that up at? Somewhere local? I don't even know if you have a record store locally. Do you? West Coast Steve, I love the upbeat tunes are about kind of being screwed. Well, they knew that.
This is easily one of Dave's best compositions. This is such a great song, very catchy.
This could have been a good track for Bob Weir and the Dead. Well, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Team Coca-Cola version.
Yeah, there's the single version and then there's the album version.
He had to fly back to the UK to record it mid-US tour. This was finally the tour that broke their US ban.
All right, here we go. Kimba's coming in with the hard-hitting questions. Angie, do you listen to any of the beat girls from the 60s or just stick to the boys?
I like the girl groups, like the Supreme, Shangri-Las, Ronettes, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the stuff that inspired a lot of the punk groups like New York Dolls and the Ramones. Like, that's one of the things that I just love about the Ramones is their love of girl groups. Joey Ramone especially loved them. DC got it locally. Exile on Main Street in Champaign, Illinois. Fantastic. They still had one in stock. I don't think that was a big seller, but whatever. Pookie, if there's LSD dropped. Oh, Pookie, always dropping the drug references. I'm just joking. The girls from LA on Capitol. What was that, a comp? They need to release the Great Lost Kinks album for Record Store Day. Was it Mark was saying what were you saying? Okay, yeah, we should mention this, Angie. The best bang for your buck, the double album Kinks, Chronicle, and Reprise. Fantastic comp. And if you get the original CD that came out on Reprise back in the day, like this. The other thing is these Reprise CDs that came out in the 80s sound great. And that King Chronicles is probably one of the best sounding King CDs there is. If you're looking for CDs. Anyway. Oh my God, I can't keep up with the So we have one last song, and
one more song.
Last minute edition, and I couldn't not add this one to the playlist because we're talking about John Wayne Gacy, and that's "Death of a Clown." I feel like Dave Davis knew something. He said he's communicated with aliens before, and I somehow feel like he's connected a bit to Velvet Goldmine, if you know what I mean, because there's a whole alien storyline in that film, and that's a film that means a lot to me as well. But anyway, here's "Death of a Clown," and maybe was Dave predicting something? I think he was.
This could be one of the greatest Kinks tracks of all time, I think. In fact, this record is fantastic. My favorite record, though, is Village Green, but come on. This is a masterpiece. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, here we go.
Sorrows in whiskey and gin. The line tame as a whip doesn't crack anymore. The lions, they won't fight, and the tigers won't roar. So let's go drink to the death of a clown.
Fantastic.
Won't someone help me to break up this ground? Let's all drink to the death of a clown. Let's all
to never.
No worries. Please roll the support, everyone.
Oh my God, it's already done. And pay attention.
Fabulous show. This was a great show.
No, you made it a great show, not me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm just pressing buttons for you, pretty much. I am.
So much fun.
Fantastic,
the Kinks
Angie
are-
Moon. You're
They're one of
fantastic.
my favorite bands to talk about. I just really love talking about the Kinks. Any band that I talk about in this book, I think it's just great. Like, yeah, this is Crime of the Century. It's purple. My eyeshadow kind of matches the book. Purple's my favorite color. And yeah, it's got the flying V on it, tarot card motif. And we will talk about Joe Meek someday because that is a hell of a story. And there's weird numerology connections. February 3rd, Dave Davis's birthday. February 3rd, the day the music died. February 3rd, the day that Joe Meek killed Violent Shenton before turning the gun on himself. And February 3rd, the day Phil Spector murdered Lana Clarkson. So February 3rd, a real day that the music died.
There you go. True statement.
It's chilling. And I know a little quote from Spandau Ballet, because that'll be our next episode of Spandau Ballet. So we're going to be going to the 80s. So a big, leap forward. I know this much is true crime, to quote them. Or, well, I added the
You
true crime
guys feel
section.
free to just keep going. Well, I wish I could. Well, we're going to go an hour and a half. Hey, we haven't been cut off yet. We've been playing. See, the thing is, if you play music, talk 5 minutes, more than likely your stream won't be touched, But anyway, so the next show is Spandau Ballet. I'll
Yep.
send you some dates. We'll reconvene. The next episode of the Warehouse Acid Test, did we talk about who we're going to do? Oh, we did, didn't we? Mamas and the Papas. Yeah.
I want to do Easy Beats after that because I've been wanting
Okay.
to do an Easy Beats episode so badly.
All right. So not this weekend, but the weekend after, we will be back on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern time to do the Mamas and the Papas. And then 2 weeks from that, it will be the Easy Beats. And then look for the end of next month for the next episode of Crime of the Century. So, other than that, Angie, do you have anything else to mention? I think we've done it.
Nothing else. Just support Crime of the Century, support my blog. So I have much more writing where that came from, and that's on my website, crazyonclassicrock.com. That's where you can buy Crime of the Century, and you can read hundreds of blog posts. So I have hundreds of blog posts about all sorts of classic rock topics, and it's explored an angle that I don't think a lot of people have explored. So I talk a lot about rock stars of all walks of life, rock stars of all different ethnic backgrounds, LGBT rock stars, female rock stars from different countries. Any topic classic rock, I've probably covered it. So yeah, there's tons of reading material and you won't get bored.
All right, cool. All right, everybody, if you've not left a thumbs up, please leave a thumbs up. Please check out Angie's book. The links are down below. Please subscribe to the Warehouse if you have not. We have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel that way. We're just kind of getting it going. It'll get better. And if that's too much of commitment, we do have a Ko-fi. Buy us a pint or a cup of coffee. We'd appreciate that. We're just trying to keep it real in the feel here in the Warehouse. We're just trying to turn you on to stuff. So anyway, Angie Moon, she will be back. We'll see her in a week. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming. This was awesome, Angie. Please do more on your YouTube channel. There you go.
Thank you so much. I'm so busy with writing at the moment, and I've got a lot of other things going on in life. But yeah, I'd love to just do
Until
more.
she dumps me, she'll be over here.
I love being on the Rock Warehouse.
Warehouse is good. They're good people here. Glad I caught what I caught. Great show.
Thank you
Anyway,
so much, guys. Much
all right,
love.
everybody. We'll see you. Keep it clean, and we will see you on the next one. All right. All right. Oh, I got to hit the right